November 24th, 1971, 8:13 p.m. Somewhere over the dark forests of Washington state, the rear stairs of a Boeing 727 swing open into a freezing rainstorm. A man in a business suit steps to the edge, holding 21 pounds of cash strapped to his body. And then, he jumps into the night, into the storm, into nowhere. 50 years later, the FBI still cannot tell you who he was, where he landed, or whether he even survived. This is the only unsolved hijacking in American history. It's the day before Thanksgiving, 1971. Portland International Airport, Oregon. A man walks up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter and pays cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle. Flight 305. 30 minutes in the air. He gives his name as Dan Cooper. He is described later as mid-40s, calm, polite, dark suit, white shirt, black tie, a plain briefcase, the kind of man nobody remembers, which perhaps was the point. The plane takes off at 2:50 in the afternoon. Cooper lights a cigarette, orders a bourbon and soda, and hands a folded note to the flight attendant, Florence Schaffner. She assumes it's a phone number and slips it into her pocket unread. Cooper leans closer and says quietly, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase, she sees red cylinders, wires, and a large battery. Cooper dictates his demands. $200,000 in $20 bills, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. No shouting, no threats beyond the note. Witnesses would later describe him as almost courteous. He paid for his drinks. He offered to request meals for the crew. For 2 hours, Flight 30 circles above Puget Sound while, on the ground, the airline's president approves the ransom and the FBI scrambles to photograph 10,000 $20 bills. At 5:39 p.m., the plane lands in Seattle. Cooper trades the 36 passengers for the money and the parachutes. The crew stays. And here is the first detail that tells you this was not an ordinary criminal. He demanded 4 parachutes, making the FBI believe he might force crew members to jump with him. Any sabotaged chute could kill an innocent person. They had to give him working ones. At 7:36 p.m., the Boeing 727 takes off again, headed south. Cooper's instructions to the pilots are precise and revealing. Altitude, 10,000 feet. Landing gear, down. Wing flaps, 15 degrees. Cabin, unpressurized. These are not the demands of a desperate man. These are the exact parameters at which a 727 can fly slow and low enough for a parachute jump. He also knew something few people did. The Boeing 727 has a rear staircase that can be opened in flight. Whoever Dan Cooper was, he knew airplanes. He sends the crew to the cockpit and tells them to stay there. The last thing a flight attendant sees is Cooper tying something around his waist, believed to be the bank bag with the cash. At 8:01 p.m., a warning light flashes in the cockpit. The aft stairs are open. Outside, total darkness, heavy rain, and a wind chill far below zero. Cooper is wearing a raincoat, a suit, and loafers. At 8:13, the plane's tail suddenly pitches upward. The pilots have to correct the trim. Investigators believe that was the moment. The moment Dan Cooper stepped off the stairs with the money, somewhere over the wilderness north of Portland. When the plane lands in Reno, agents storm the cabin. It's empty. He left behind only a black clip-on tie, a mother-of-pearl tie clip, and 2 of the 4 parachutes. The FBI launches one of the largest manhunts in its history. Codename, NORJAK. Soldiers, helicopters, boats, and search teams comb the forests around Lake Merwin for 18 days. Door to door, farm to farm, they find nothing. No parachute, no body, no money. It is as if the sky simply swallowed him. For 9 years, the case goes cold. Then in February 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram is digging a fire pit on a sandbar called Tina Bar on the Columbia River. Just under the surface, he finds 3 rotting bundles of $20 bills. $5,800. The serial numbers match Cooper's ransom perfectly. And that discovery only deepens the mystery, because Tina Bar is miles away from the FBI's calculated jump zone. How did the money get there? A flood? An animal? Did Cooper himself carry it? Or did his body wash down the river? To this day, nobody knows. The remaining $194,000 has never surfaced. Not one bill. Over the decades, the FBI processed more than 1,000 suspects. Richard McCoy, who pulled off a nearly identical hijacking 5 months later, but didn't match the description. Kenneth Christensen, a former paratrooper who worked for Northwest Orient. Dwayne Weber, who allegedly told his wife on his deathbed, "I'm Dan Cooper." Every lead collapsed. A partial DNA profile lifted from the tie in 2001 matched no one. Years later, scientists found microscopic particles of titanium and rare metals on that same tie, suggesting Cooper may have worked in the aerospace industry, a tantalizing clue. And another dead end. In July 2016, after 45 years, the FBI officially closed the case. Think about what that means. A man hijacked a commercial airliner, walked away with $200,000, and stepped out of an airplane into a storm. And the most powerful investigative agency on Earth never found out who he was. Not his name, not his fate, nothing. Did Dan Cooper die that night in the freezing forest? The money rotting beside him somewhere under 50 years of fallen leaves? Or did he land, walk to a road, and live out a quiet, ordinary life as the man nobody remembers? There is no third option, and both of them are hard to believe. Tell me in the comments which one you'd bet on. And if stories like this one keep you up at night, subscribe. The archive is just getting started.